injury prevention and isometrics, injury prevention, and more of how to navigate injuries um, when you have an incredible tool like isometrics in your back pocket. And when we talk about isometrics in your back pocket, it's not just yielding, and you do have to be careful because a lot of times we'll have people that know a decent amount about isometrics and think that they can just rip all out on OI and think that they can fix their injury with isometrics, and that's just that. It's not exactly how it works. So what I want you to do, what I want to do for you, is I want to talk about something I'm going through with injuries right now, and I'm gonna bring it around home with exercise science. It should probably run 35 minutes ish. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about my injury first. So my injury, and you guys might be like, man, shouldn't you know better? Okay, so I was doing cable fly, what is it, September 11th? That just made me look awful, the fact that I just asked that. About, I would say the beginning of August, right? So I'm doing like cable fly, not cable fly, cable crossover. So with cable fly, I have a history of being just fine. With crossover, that extra range of motion sometimes can tweak my my tendonitis. Like so, I haven't had this issue in about 5 years roughly. The last time I dealt with this was before the ISO chain. So I think I've mentioned plenty of times that I've essentially healed this issue. And so now after 5 years it's back. And it's because I yanked on it. I yanked on the cable. I should have known better. So that's on me. So as soon as I did it, I knew, yeah, that's on you, Chris. You should have known better. Fine. That's fine. Okay, so I had two choices. Either I could be an idiot and continue to go through the reps, or I could just be like, okay, I know I just made a mistake. Stop doing that, right? And now start the rehab process. Okay, so what got limited as soon as and it wasn't a tear or anything, it's just it's inflamed right now. Like right now, if I go like this, I'm totally fine. About a couple weeks ago, doing this with not even tensing, that hurt. So if I tense now, I feel a tiny bit like a 1 out of 10. Before when I squeeze like this, about like 6 out of 10. So just letting it heal. I had no curls, no curls, but I have been doing something to help. Yes, I have been using the Isometrics to help. So with the dynamic movement, I've been keeping away from that, but I don't want my strength to go down, right? So I want to use the Isometrics to keep that up as much as possible, but I'm also not ripping into it with 100% contractions either, okay? So immediately when I had the injury, I stopped doing the exercise. I stopped doing rows because that bothered me. Pull down surprisingly didn't bother me. They still don't. So I still kept it light, right? No curls. That was direct. That was directly aggravating the issue. And it felt weird because again, I haven't dealt with elbow tendonitis since like 5 years ago. So this just speaks wonders to what isometrics does for the body. It's just insane. And the only reason I'm here is because I was stupid and messed up. So here's what I've been doing. Okay, after I found an injury, stopped doing the stuff that aggravated it, let it heal. I actually did not do anything the next couple of days. Nothing. Just literally legs and everything else that did not involve aggravating this further. And then about like maybe like 4 or 5 days later, I'm like, okay, enough time is here where I haven't used it. It's time to start using the Isomax. So again, I didn't blast into a 6x6. I did like a light 10-20% hold on the ice. It's outside, isn't it? Dang. I'm not gonna go get it. But if you guys are familiar with like the long sustained holds that we talk about, like the endurance holds, the 20 to 30% for 2 minutes. If you ever want to know what hell on earth feels like, go ahead and hold a 10 to 20% contraction for 120 seconds. You will know pain. after that one. Any anime Naruto fans know what I'm talking about? Okay, all right. I'm done being nerdy. Okay, so when I held that, I felt a little twinge, but nothing crazy. Believe it or not, I was really sore the next day doing that, like really sore. So I set the load to something ridiculous, like 30. So I'm just like, all right, I'm just not gonna go crazy. So I'm just holding it for 30, just watching the Isomax. I'm like, oh my god, this is awful. Like you can see like my bicep just like twitching, and I'm like, well, I don't normally do this exercise, but it is working. It has always worked. And I'm getting that blood flow in. I just one of the things about isometrics that are just so good. You can get that work in um, without without all that potential damage with the mechanical abrasion, and you feel that sucker because I went to try it the next day after that Isomax the 2 minute one. All I did was I took a 10 pound and I felt it, not like the soreness from the Isomax, the pain 10 pound. I felt this, so I was like, oh, not done healing yet. So I put that back down. No more, no dynamic stuff for now, and just stuck with completely static. And I started continually working on it. So I did it daily, and it's not like I started progressively overloading to some insane amount. Just a small little session once, and over time it has been doing. Like I said, like I barely feel anything now. I feel that I could probably get away with doing rows again. I don't think I would do anything direct like straight up bicep curls. Hammer curls never really bothered me whenever I had a tendonitis flare up, which is weird. But there is a lot more forearm synergist activity going on when we have the hammer curls in place of just a straight up bicep curl. That said, we have to talk about why that works. Okay, so when you have this wasn't really an acute injury. This was more of a nagging injury that happened. Oh my goodness, I think this was like mid 2010s. Was when I started doing it. When I started doing my injury. When I started having this issue, and it was from crossover. It was from crossover. It wasn't from any curls actually. And a lot of it is from just jerking it when it gets tough. So like when I get stuck on the motion, I'll be like, "Come on, man, don't be a," and I'll get it in. And yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Like it's just one of those things where this is where your go big or go home mindset can actually work to your disadvantage. And so that's just well, it is what it is. So anyway, learn from your mistakes. Don't do what I did. Learn from your mistake. And so what I like about it is now I've started to transition to the OI. So now I'm not going in at 100%, but I'm starting to get into that hypertrophy range, the 60 to 85%. And I'm obviously lowering the duration, so not 2 minutes. That's 60. Oh my God, he's dead. So lowering the time under tension to 45 seconds on average, and I'm like slowly getting up there, like 40, 50, 55, 60. And I'm loving that I'm still making progress, and I'm not doing anything that's aggravating the issue. And so the only other time I really ran into this is right at the beginning of the channel's history, where I had all those knee issues, right? Because I was a whole mess of imbalances. My glutes were weak. My core, what I thought was great, was actually weak. My quadriceps were pretty much non-existent. So it was just a whole anterior chain was a disaster. So I had to not start from the beginning, but almost start from the beginning with those Zercher squats and Zercher style split squats, because I'm not able to hold that front squat hold on the ice. And I don't have the wrist mobility. I just don't. Obviously I could train that, but I just don't. But I noticed that over time, the pain in my knees, and I can only explain, like long-time squad members, y'all know what I'm about to say. I can only explain that type of knee pain as a lightning bolt in your joint. I've never felt anything like that before in my entire life. I mean, it was debilitating to move. sometimes. I was almost embarrassed to call myself a fitness anything at that time. Like, I can't even bend my knee, right? And so like the iso chain at the time was helping a lot with that. So I just found like insane value in it that I was able to still progress and build up my legs without any movement. That's insane. So I was like, all right, well, I know what to do. So I'm just going to do the same thing with the Isomax here with the biceps. So fast forward to today, I would say I'm doing back and buys Saturday. I was going to do it later today. I just want a little bit more rest time. I'm still not doing bicep though. In place of I do 2 bicep movements on back and by day, which is the incline hammer curl. I love that move. So I'm like this, and I'm just curling up. I love that because it just eliminates any type of cheating. So it's either your biceps and your forearms get the weight up, or you don't get it up at all. Ha 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 ha. And the other one is the preacher curl. I think I had a reel on that. What was that, yesterday or something like that? Those are my 2 favorites. It's just I like really direct work where it eliminates the cheating. Okay. Some can argue that there's a little bit of shoulder recruitment as you get down into it for the preacher curl. Sure, that's neither here nor there. It is very much directly bicep work. So I like those 2. The other exercise for the major compounds that I do are the lat pull down and the row. And the row triggers the pain. So I cut that. And they have this cool attachment piece at the gym. Prime Fitness, if you guys have ever heard of them. I don't get anything from them. But instead of like holding the lat pull down bar like this, you hold it like this. It is so much easier on the joints, in my opinion. So I might debate that, and that's fine. I just feel like I'm able to really get down and engage the lats when the handles, when your palms face each other versus when they face out. It's just me. After that, I get some brutal hyperextension holds for my lower back because I'm not going back to a place where my lower back was jacked up. Yeah, screw that. If anybody had lower back pain, oh my god, like it just sucks, dude. Like, you can't do anything at all. What else do I do for? Oh, I do face pulls with the isometric 3-second hold here. I love that. I've been doing that's a staple of mine for many, many years. Before I even understood the value of isometrics, I've been doing pause reps with face pulls. I just love that for the upper back complex. It's so freaking good, guys. So good. Highly recommend. And the gripper machine, and then I do 2 ab workouts, and I kind of cycle the abs. So what is that, like 5, 6 pull movements? And that's really it, because I get the rest of that through the Isomax 6x6. I'm sorry, 1x6 that I do every other day right now. It just works really, really well for me. And I just noticed that the needle is just continually moving up. So it's nice. It's nice. It's nice the fact that I can do less and more. I can take a less is more approach versus before, where I would just be in the gym for like 2 hours. And I didn't mind. Like, I'm not afraid of work. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go for 3 hours. And I've done longer than 2 before. But like, I feel like at my age, I just want to work smarter and not harder. Like, it's not, for me, it's not really a flex to be saying that I was in the gym for 2 hours when I could be in there for 45 minutes and get the same quality of workout. So now it becomes, what were you doing in there for 2 hours? Does that make sense? And then someone could counter argue and be like, okay, we'll just get the quality for 2 hours. That's fine. You know, like for me, I have to edit these freaking videos. Okay, so not exactly a 20-minute deal for these. So I just have to be kind of smart with my training nowadays. So where was I going with that? So out of all of those, the row, and believe it or not, the row is my favorite compound lift for back and bicep. And I can't do it right now. It's going to trigger it. It's going to set me all the way back to the beginning. So that's just off the table right now. I would say probably October. I'll get back into it. So that is that is more of my personal use right now of using isometrics to heal myself. Um, so, and I have a list of talking points here. So I just want to make sure because you guys have been in the live stream with me. If I do not have some type of list to keep me on track, I tend to ramble. So when you guys see the finished product, yeah, I'm not just going based off of here. Like I have a list. Thank God. Um, but yeah. So essentially, like like one of the main boons with isometric is it allows you to train pain free. It allowed me to get to the point where I'm able to squat. And this is 425 is not insane weight. It just depends on who you talk to. Some might call that Trump change. Some might be like, I wish I could do that someday. It just really depends on who you talk to. But I think I told you guys in the last live stream where I was talking about how leg day, how isometrics saved my leg day. A lot of that was healing up my imbalances, which was mainly a glute imbalance, but also the raw sticking points of my squat. Like my body has just become really efficient. And I believe I'm still at like I was at 175 at the wedding 2 weeks ago. A lot of that was stress though. You've been married, it's a little bit stressful like right beforehand. So I ate up a lot and now I'm at like 179, 178, 179. If I was at 180, it wouldn't surprise me. But the fact that you can just use that to strengthen yourself and not have the risk that comes with dynamic training to your joints, like you just about eliminate it. The only way you really run into an issue with static training and just kind of working around your injury is if you just decide, okay, well, this hurts, but I'm just going to go blast into a 6x6 anyway. Yeah, you're going to run into trouble. You have to wisely program the isometrics to get not only the healing factor, but also like to continue to, at the very least, maintain your strength. One of the reasons I really love load mode on Isomax. But you're also getting that blood flow without the motion, right? So you're getting the and I also focused on the squeeze. So even though I'm pulling with 60 to 85%, I'm also squeezing. So I'm just trying to get as much extra tension as possible. I'm kind of like we talked about on the, oh my God, is that really 3 years old now? The older video on the channel, the time under tension, it's the thumbnail where I show, why can I not think of it right now? I hate when that happens. It shows Goku and Vegeta going like that. It's total body tension. Oh my gosh, yes. Total body tension. And it's just like focusing on tightening up the entire body so there's no leaks. Like no leaks, you're just keeping everything tense. Absolutely incredible. One of the most satisfying isometric sets you could ever get. If you want to feel every ounce of tension that your body can generate, practice total body tension. It is a freaking game changer. I don't do it on every movement, but for exercises that involve me to just be absolutely locked in, like when I start deadlifting heavy or when I squat heavy, I'm using total body tension. I should talk about that more. I'm just so focused on the movement. Like when I'm locked in, if you guys have ever run into it, like it's like, all right, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just trying to not get folded by this bar. It's the same thing. But I am utilizing total body tension whenever I squat or dead or do anything. Bench press, same thing. But I don't want to say sleeper because I think that I've made it clear about the boon to your neurological system whenever you are performing isometrics. And when you have an injury, right, and you have to leave it alone and let it heal. Okay, you run into a situation where if your only options were dynamic training, it's just like, okay, you can either continue to destroy and just prolong the inevitable, prolong the time it takes to completely heal because of sliding filament theory, right? Or you can just focus on the static and you can still get those gains by just contracting the muscle with no movement. So now you're getting all the benefits. Your mind muscle connection is still there. Your mind is still remembers, okay, you have to contract at this level. That's the neurological component, right? In order to achieve this level of strength, you have to contract at this level. And when you pull with everything you got, you don't forget that. It's Heb's rule. It's muscle fibers that wire together, fire together. And the more you do that, the more you grease the groove, the more that's going to stay with you. And so when I go back, I'm not saying I'm going to go back to like curling 75, 80. I'm going to still work, like when it's time to start to ease back into the weightlifting, the isomax numbers are going to be what they are. But the weightlifting, you still want to be easy with that, because when you start to incorporate movement into the mix, you still have to be careful, because if you don't do it right, you'll go right back to what it was. Does that make sense? Like if you're just now done healing and you go right back to like the weight that you were, I don't recommend it. And for those that have dealt with an injury, I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So don't do that. Yes, I've been there. In case you can't tell, I've been there. All right. But it's like the excellent insurance policy. When I was what was that, 23, when I had the appendectomy surgery, and they were like, hey, remember that core that you use everything for in your lifts? Gone. Man, I tell you what, you don't realize how much you use your core until that ability to contract for every movement is taken away. Literally every movement that the human body produces comes from your center. So if you take away your center, man, we are weak. Man, I remember going back to the gym and I was like, man, I can't do anything. I was lifting this entire time. Like, that's what it felt like. I'm like, if I felt like a stranger. I felt like I was in a stranger's body. It's the wildest thing. And I had to use isometrics to bring that back quickly. Now, I'm not, again, when I had the appendectomy, they said no lifting for 6 to 8 weeks. I waited 7. It was the most agonizing 7 weeks of my entire life. I kid you not, literally all 35 years. That was the most agonizing 7 weeks of my entire life. I'm just like, I'm getting weaker. Oh my God, help. So when I was able to start doing something, deadlifts were completely off the table. I'm talking isomax deadlifts. I didn't want to utilize that movement, but I started with isolated first. And then again, working around injury, yeah, surgery, that's quite the injury, right? I got cut 3 times. So you have to be careful with that. But I could literally feel like the power coming back. And I'll tell you what, load mode just came in so clutch in 23. It's so freaking clutch. I think that I made a video on it. To be honest, I can't remember. It might have been a live stream. I don't think, no, it was a full production video. The video started where like I was sleeping, I opened my eyes and I ran downstairs and did an isomax. Yeah. I just forget the name of it. It was a good little fun video. But it shows the power of how keeping the isometrics in the loop will drastically reduce the drop off of strength from not being able to do any type of dynamic movement. Just what a freaking difference. So now that's 3 times that it showed up for me. The at the beginning with the knee injury, the appendectomy, and even now. And I'm sure I'd love to tell you that I'm just going to remain injury proof for the rest of my. That's likely not going to happen. It might even be something that has nothing to do with the gym for the next injury. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just life. Just whatever, man. Just deal with it. But this really is the game changer. Just to be able to navigate through your injuries. Prior to this, the only option that you really had was just don't move it. You know what I mean? Like, don't aggravate it with like any type of dynamic lifts. And now you have an option. But what I want to really make clear for everyone is, if you have an injury, first of all, make sure you talk to a doctor about it. Like, no matter what, because I'm not I'm not a medical specialist. I'm simply a personal trainer. And that's what I tell my clients too. It's just like, hey, if you got injured, you don't need to be talking to me right now. You need to go to your doctor, right? It's called scope of practice. Essentially, scope of practice is like the professional way of saying staying in my lane. So I'm not gonna tell somebody, hey, just go do isometrics and you'll be good. No, you need to go to the doctor and figure out what's wrong, dude. And then they'll tell you what you need to be doing in what time frame. Okay. So once you get that time frame and it's timed and everything is rested, it's time to start walking back into everything. Isometrics will get your strength back a lot quicker. Okay, so what I did was I essentially focused on the movements that were only isolated, no compound. Did we have the isomax yet? No, we didn't. It was still the chain. It was still the chain. Yes, it was still the chain. 22 then. That must have been 22. The isomax came out like spring of 23. So yeah, that was 22. Man, it just feels like it was just yesterday. Anyway, so yeah, chain. So I mean, we're talking. What are we talking? Curl, tricep extension. Even that was kind of wonky with my core because I mean, you could feel every movement. You could like feel the 3 cuts specifically. It was kind of weird. And the front raise, which to this day is the most intense shoulder workout I have ever done. Number 2 being the 3-minute continuous arm circles / yielding isometric pseudo whatever Sean T was doing with his Insanity program in 2012. I hate that man. I love him and I hate him for that that program. But yeah, so only isolated movements, and I kid you not, how much farther behind I'd be had I not practiced that. But I want to start getting into these comments. I know you guys are commenting, so I just want to make sure that I go through like some of the main points. I think I'm at like 90%. What did I miss? Got that. In a roundabout way, I got that one. I guess I could cover this real quick. This is just like use. Oh, here's a good one. So I'm definitely going over my 30 minutes. I have a client. I train her once a week. Her husband. I'm sorry. Her boyfriend has lower back issues. And tends to be more prone to like acute pain in the joints. So not really active in a weight bearing sense. That would make sense because he does cardio, but sometimes when he does cardio, he has to stop because of the pain, right? So there's not enough muscle buildup to essentially function, dual function as shock absorbers. Fine. I picked that up. So the first thing I told her to tell him was you got to work on those glutes. So if you guys remember that glute bridge video that I dropped that has criminally underperformed, and I know why. It's because it's not a popular exercise. Glutes are so important, guys. They are so important. If you don't want lower back issues, man, the hyperextension, the freaking glute bridge, or any type of hip extension exercise that builds the glutes, that's going to be money. That's going to keep you upright and youthful for many, many, many years. Like glutes are incredibly important, especially because most people sit on it like I am now. And it's just a cascade of disastrous effects over the course of years if you continue to let that build up. Work on your glutes. One of the main things I would like you to actually take out of this live stream, which wasn't even intended. But anyway, so I told him to do 4 isometric exercises. I almost did this. 4 isometric exercises to help him out. So the first one was the glute bridge. Need to work on his glutes, all right? The second thing was the wall sit because he told me about the knee pain. And so some of that was his gait was messed up. So I kind of saw the imbalances. I'm like, all right, you need to do these wall sits. I kind of noticed a little bit of like a wince as it started going. I already knew what that was. I've been there. I knew what that was. You need to do that. Warm up first. You need to do that. The elbow plank and specifically, what did I have him do? The inverted pull-ups where your feet are out like this. You can't really see it. Can you see it? Yeah. So like that, and you're holding onto a bar. So like I was like at our gym they have a Smith machine, so I was like set the Smith machine bar low, grab here, pull up, hold it until you start to fail and you start to go down, right? So oh, that phone case actually came in handy for once. Um, so those 4 exercises, is that an all-encompassing program? Not really. I mean, I guess you could kind of say yes, but not really. It was just something to get him started. Because with what he told me, I didn't really see that throwing him directly into the weights would be beneficial for his specific ailments is a strong word, but you guys get what I'm saying. So I wanted him to build up a baseline level of strength and endurance, which those exercises are fantastic at, especially those wall sits. So you're gonna get the quadriceps from the wall sit, hamstring a little bit, um, the hamstring and glutes from the glute bridge isometric hold. You're gonna get the shoulders and core from the elbow plank, and then you're going to get the I'm sorry, it was 5. The push-up hold for the chest, shoulders, and tries, and then the inverted row for the back and biceps. And believe it or not, his forearms started to smoke out first. So you're definitely getting forearms as well. So those 5 exercises I had him do. I was like, all right, I don't need you to be here forever because I don't want you to be demotivated. So I'm just gonna have you do these 5 exercises. Your goal is to try and hold each one for like 15 to 20 seconds. And then I want you to take like 30 seconds in between, do another 15 and 20, 30 seconds in between, 15 and 20. Go to the next exercise. Probably should be done within like 10 to 15 minutes. And he was like, that's it. I was like, that's it. That's it. You know, you don't have to be here for, it's about being efficient. It's better than trying to figure out, you know, what to do with all these machines in here and stuff. Because he wasn't at a place where he could get personal training from me yet, you know. So I that's fine, no problem. I understand. So I'm not just gonna leave him hanging. You know, I love what I do, so I'm gonna help him out. So I told him to do that. And on top of that, once he's done with those 5 exercises, go ahead and hop on the elliptical. And because of where he had the pain, I told him to go in reverse for the elliptical. That ended up working well. I stopped seeing him though. He stopped doing it, but it's fine. It's whatever. But the point was, those 5 exercises helped him navigate around his injury. The bicep curls, holding for time, not at full on 6x6, 100%, but just holding at those lower intensities over a longer duration. It's helping with my tendonitis right now. Doing those Zercher squats and Bulgarian split squats, Zercher style, on the iso chain back in 2020. It wasn't a magical thing, but it did work over time, helped with my knee issues. And doing those isolated movements with the appendectomy helped with getting my strength back. I'm not sure how much longer the process would have taken. I know it would have taken longer. But I can't give you an exact time. But pretty much what I was going off of at that time was, I know how long it takes to recover from things normally. So when you incorporate that, the isometrics into the mix, and the only option you had prior to this knowledge was, I got to do something, and all I know is dynamic, so I'm just going to do dynamic. Well, that's off the table. So what do you have now? Nothing, right? So you can either do nothing, or you can utilize something that's more efficient as you start to heal without completely aggravating what still needs to be healed. I probably explained that in such an atrocious manner, but I think you guys follow me on that. See what happens when I don't have a script. But let me get into these questions here. I think I saw like 15 pop up while I was doing this. So, oh my goodness. People who are like super eloquent on live streams, man, hats off to you, dude. I don't have the ability to do that right now. But I've noticed I've gotten better with live streams. You just need to do it more, that's all. Okay, let's start with... essential information. Yeah, I I'm sure that could have been a lot more eloquent. Is that the word? Nightlight. Hi, I've recently started doing the dynamic tension exercises. Charles Atlas in the house. If I keep doing them, what muscle type will they become? They will likely become more endurance. You'll have strength gains there, but you're gonna hit a wall with that. Um, it's like you would think that based off of the principles of dynamic tension, that it's just like, okay, if I just keep pushing like that, I'll get stronger, and then if I just continue to apply the new strength to this, I'll get stronger, and it's just like an infinite thing until like you just hit infinity, and that's just not how it works. So essentially, that's such a weird thing to think about. At some point, you're gonna have to add a new stimulus. If you're practicing dynamic tension, I personally would recommend the bull worker. There are 3 huge military planes, 4, 5, 6 military planes flying by. Well, it was nice knowing you guys. 7. Oh my God, what the hell is going on here? That's weird. Anyway, back to this. So, yeah. So, the bull worker. That's just an example. Like this is like with dynamic tension, you can literally do anything. Like you can do the bicep curl hold where you're pulling here, pushing down here, pulling up here, right? At some point, you'll likely want to throw in a stronger stimulus, but the muscle type is going to teeter more towards muscular endurance after a while. You're going to get a boom with the strength, and then it's going to start to be more muscular endurance because you can't really add to the load. So there's only one direction to go, which is endurance, if that makes sense. Lower back pain really is terrible. It damn sure is. I had it bad for a year, and it can be torture. If you guys are doing deadlift, please, please, please do not cap back. Do not cap back. If you are feeling your limit on a dead or a squat, and you're like, oh, I can do one more, just stop. Just, you know. If I didn't tell you guys about the story of how I hurt my lower back initially, it's a small dance between ego lifting and I can actually do this. I was going for 500 in 2018, and I did it, and I'm like, oh, I can go for 505. So I waited like 2-3 minutes. I was doing heavy singles, went for 505. Man, it was this sloppy, and I should have stopped. I'm like, all right, I'm good. So I'm like, all right, I could probably get 515. Oh my God. Keep in mind, the form was good. I did not cap back at all. So I'm just coming up. Oh my God. I will never forget that pain for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. Just, I know we're No Limit Squad, but train wisely. All right. There are no limits as long as you train wisely. Yeah, it was just awful. What if someone can't do isometrics without pain? That's a great question. I would say it would depend on what you're dealing with. If you can't do isometrics without pain, there is likely something going on. You probably want to talk to a doc about that, and they're going to advise you on what forms of exercise are acceptable. So I don't want to sit here and tell you guys that, oh yeah, no problem, just work through it, because I don't know what you're working through. You know what I mean? Like, for example, what is that? Fibromyalgia. Like the first thing, if I was starting a client with fibromyalgia, the first thing I'm gonna tell them is like, you need to go back to your doctor and you need to tell me what they are greenlighting you to do. I'm definitely not gonna overstep boundaries and tell you, oh, whatever the doctor, just do these isometrics. Yeah, that's a good way to lose insane credibility overnight. I'm in the process of healing a repetitive stress injury on my wrist. Oh, I've been there before. I've been in the past. Anytime I tried strengthening it, such as with light weight, the pain would flare up again. I let it rest for 6 months. Oh, hold on, there's more. This time around, I've been using isometrics in 4 directions at a neutral position, and and it is the first time I started to make progress. It is almost weird not having constant pain anymore. Awesome. Um, I when did I hurt my wrist? Is that 2014? Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think I still have that photo on my Instagram. Oh my gosh. Um, so long story short, I had a double whammy. I was skating in Florida, and I did like a circle stop, lost my balance, and as I'm falling, I put my hand out, and that was stupid. So I was like, man, why is this not feeling better? And there's like this big ass bump. I'm like, oh well, that's probably not good. So super strained it. And then as it was healing, this is before I was certified. I was working at a rail yard in 2024, end of 2024. Working a rail yard in 2025, and I was on the train. Like I was working on train and on trains. Like if a train would come into the rail yard, I was like unlocking them, going down this super incredibly long and never-ending track, and unlocking the whole train. You didn't know that about me, huh? Well, now you do. Um, and I freaking fell off the train. And they're not exactly like right next to the ground. Like I fell off of it. And so I'm like, oh well, that really hurt. And guess what wrist I landed on? It's like, well, I suck at life. So what so obviously no curls for me. So um I had like a whole cast, so like here it would keep the wrist stabilized, so you can only see the fingers, and then the thumb would stick out. So I would still be doing like my curls, but I had to like when it was finally time to take that off. What I would do is I would just hold here and really focus on like the tension. I didn't really understand at the time because I thought I was just working on my bicep, but I was actually doing a mini isometric, just keeping the wrist stable. Because if I went like this or this, I mean, it hurt. You know what I mean? So I was forced to keep the wrist stable. I'm not really understanding that was essentially a yielding isometric. I'm not saying that was like, oh my God, that was like the thing that fixed it. But it was a little bit of progress. Anyway, I'm rambling. But for the wrist, I would if you have an ISO chain, a DIY, I'm not saying to go buy the Dragon Door one, even though I do still recommend that product, believe it or not, 5 years later. You can do a wrist curl on it. So, you set the strap or chain link here or wherever is comfortable for you, and your wrist is not going to move, and you're trying to move the bar up, and you're gonna see what the force readout says. And you're trying to beat that. Or my recommendation is instead of going in a just all in OI format, I probably would go in a more endurance direction, kind of like what I did with my bicep the last like month or so, is just to like get that tension in and just go for time, and just try and keep the average duration, like just try and have the average force over the 2 minutes just get a little bit higher each time, just progressively overload there. Obviously what you're doing already is working, so first and foremost keep doing that. But if you want to add more options to your wrist rehab, that's an option. I would say be careful doing it first, but that is an option. Um, Eloquent or not, I'm glad you cover isometrics and injury navigation. Thanks. Yeah, I know my poor wrist. You want to know how that got fixed, real quick? You want to know how that wrist got fixed? So I don't know if you guys have ever met someone like this, but you could probably classify me as what's called a contrarian. So if a whole group of people do this, I tend to do this because I don't like following behind other people. Hence, I love isometrics. It's kind of like a niche within a niche uh, thing in the fitness world. But I just like different stuff. I like unique stuff. I like weird looking cars, you know? Like I just like unique stuff. So I just still find isometrics fascinating for many different reasons. Um, so I took and I say that because I was taking Aikido class. I know that Aikido is um, it's been called the laughing stock of martial arts. It doesn't really work, and that's fine. I'm not tripping. You know, I haven't been able to take the classes recently because my schedule just absolutely all over the place right now. But when I did take it, we were practicing. What were we practicing? A technique called Sankyo, which is a wrist lock. Oh my god, yeah. A wrist lock technique, and a friend of mine. He's actually a client. I trained him in an hour, so I actually have to get off soon. I'll tell him I put this on here. So I was like, bro, just be careful. I'm still healing. Just be careful with the lock. Just be really easy. And he was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, oh my god, help! It hurts so bad. And I was like, yo, wait a minute. Oh, you fixed it. It's been good ever since. I kid you not, he fixed it. There was no pain. I went into that session with like that nagging pain. I was like, this is probably gonna be here for I don't know, maybe a couple years or so. I left that place. There was no pain. There has not been pain since then. That's crazy. Yeah, don't do that though. Yeah, no way. I mean, yeah, no way. No way is that actually. I don't know, but I have not had any issue with it since I was. Let me see, 2017, no, 2016 is when I took class last. So about 9 years since, and I've hadn't had any issues with it. I'm sure if I went to the doc and they really looked at it, it's like, hey, do you know this has been off for like 9 years? I don't know. I'm good. Don't recommend that. See your doctor. But do we have anything else? I would like to help as much as possible. Again, if there's like a super specific scenario, I'm likely going to tell you to go see your doctor because that's what you should do for sure, so that we're not like putting a band-aid over the issue. We're like fixing the issue. Those are my three stories. I had my lower back issue and how I navigated around that. The knee issue, which is why I purchased the ISO chain initially anyway. This issue, the wrist. I don't think I've had any other issues. Those are like the main four that I've ever had. No. Good. No. Those are my main four. That's actually that's not bad considering 16 years, right? Those four major injuries. My stupid ego would have saved me from the back one, but the rest were just kind of, you know. Yes, I do train my grip strength. We have a gripper machine at our gym, which I purchased. I found it on Facebook Marketplace. Every now and you're gonna see it in Friday or Saturday's video, probably Saturday, honestly. But it's a gripper machine. You can slide. Six is kind of sketchy, but you can definitely solidly slide 5 45-pound plates, and you grab over it like this, and you just crush. It's kind of like a Captain's a Crush gripper, but plate loaded. Excuse me. So I do a 1-1-1 tempo. So I'll go 1 1 1 2 2 2. Oh my God, the pump on your forearms is absolutely insane. And I think I've mentioned this before. If you really want your lifts to absolutely freaking explode, go ahead and train your core seriously, and go ahead and train your grip seriously. Like, if you want to just know what the next level of your deadlift ability is, go ahead and train your grip and core just absolutely insane for 90 days. You're welcome. Yeah. It's a hammer strength. I found it for like normally they run like $900 to $1,000. This guy's like, yeah, I had a COVID gym, and I'm just trying to get rid of it. It's just collecting dust. And I was like, he doesn't know how valuable this machine is. Would you take it for 3? Yeah, I'll be right there. Bye. But anyway, guys. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I know I tend to ramble, but yeah, no script, so kind of rambly. But I expect a video. Tomorrow's a reach. 100% Saturday. 100% Saturday. And I am going to give you one hint on what it is. I'm wearing it, and I will see you then.